Is Greg Miller, National Director of Church Army USA, and I'm joined today by the Reverend Caleb Evans, Rector of Holy Trinity Anglican Church in Plainville, Connecticut, and Dorothy Smolkas, Church Army officer who is serving the church in Plainville. We as Church Army have been refocusing our efforts to really go back to the original vision of the ministry that our founder, Wilson Carlisle, had when he sought to raise up an army of evangelists to serve the church, to really help the church reach out into its community. We live in a day today that's much different than when at least us grew up, where you used to be able to put a sign out front of a church building or maybe in front of a hall someplace and say, "We're meeting, come join us," and people would come join you, and the church would pretty much grow based on that. Today, people aren't looking to join the church, and it really, I think, is necessary for the church now to do what we've been called to do all along, and that's to love our neighbor as ourselves. And to do that, the church has to get outside its walls into its community and begin to show the community that it cares about it. As you have been serving in Holy Trinity, what are some of the specific ways that your ministry has found shape there? What have you been able to help the church to do? And what results have you seen in terms of both yourself being involved in the church and the church being involved in more outreach ministry?
Well, I've been invited in a leadership role in the church. I lead the evangelism and outreach ministries. I get to serve as a junior warden and co-lead the acolytes even. And also I get to co-lead the social media site, which is big in the evangelistic part. Father Caleb and the congregation have been very open and welcome to growing outreach and newcomers in the church, which is, it really takes a team. And this is a team I get to serve in, so that's been beautiful. A gift from God. To help the church go out and intentionally put ourselves in the way of people is one of the things that I think I've really stressed and taught, to meet our neighbors and to make relationships with that community, as the relationships are one of the most important pieces of all of this. I believe also I've been able to help the church be aware and engage in local community events by coming alongside the events and doing some of the outreach during them. We're able to really meet and be part of that community. So it's the outreach is coming alongside what's already going on, and it's in a way where everyone, feels comfortable coming into it. It's not door to door, knocking on door to door evangelism, though we do that. But there's a piece for everyone, and when they're ready, they step into it, and we have seen significant growth like that.
What are some of the things that you have done with church members? What does some of the ministry look like?
Okay, we have a weekly prayer table. We actually bring a table out in our driveway to the sidewalk, and we offer food and coffee and different things like that every Wednesday. And we have muffins. We bring muffins almost door to door around the neighborhood because we are centered right within town. We're allowed to meet a lot of the businesses and the locals and those who are on the street in need as we walk around through the community with those muffins. We do door-to-door invitations for Easter and Christmas services. We invite after church on Sundays before those holidays for folks to come out, and we'll give out a candy cane and an invitation and knock on the door and literally meet our neighbors. And then same thing at Easter times, it's jelly beans. So we find that those who have come along are really surprised, and they learn an awful lot of what truly how you're received to what the world says of how you would be received. And most folks are ready just to meet you and to know more about you and have a lot of questions. So we have a sunrise service at the Veterans Park right in town. That has been going well the last few years. Hosting the National Day of Prayer for our town on the green. That is also opening some new area. Again, it's coming alongside what the town is already doing. The town already has parades like for Memorial Day and Veterans Day. So we put a table out, we put a prayer clothespin area out for veterans who have lost folks, and so we could pray for them and just put ourselves right into that community. And again, we have so many volunteers for that. We have too many volunteers for that. And we've even seen folks who said that I'm not an evangelist, walk up and down the street and say, come get a donut and coffee. So it's really growing there. We take our coffee hour outside during the warmer months. We go right into our front yard, and so that we can meet neighbors and that folks in the community can see us out there and be part of that community again. We host a table at a large fair, which isn't in our town, but it's a town or two over. And we offer prayer, we offer literature, we take the time to meet our neighbors at that fair, and we're really welcomed. They actually opened a larger area for us so we could put chairs down and pray for folks there. Let's see. We, again, coming alongside what the town is already doing, the town has its large pumpkin festival to raise funding for those who are in need. And we offer free books. We have crafts for children out there. We offer the donuts and the food, and we even open up our whole church so that they could use our facilities. And it's been a great way to meet our neighbors, sometimes to re-meet our neighbors, and they love to come up and talk with us. And many folks have even walked through our church just to use the facilities, and we have folks inside the church. This is part of the congregation just opening up and growing, who are there to answer questions and to talk with them and for whatever they need. And we're learning to get more involved and understand the missions we already serve in our church, that we support financially and in prayer. And we've also been able to be a little more involved in Mission Sunday too. I think that's opened up to the congregation. So it's really opened up quite a few, almost an event a month. Right now we are looking into a nursing home card ministry, if you will. And we've tried that out a little bit last year, and that's the last piece, of looking how we can go into the nursing home also and bring folks from the church and model that and teach them how to do that.
That's great. Well, you mentioned that you've been out in several different contexts. You're praying with people. What kind of a response have you gotten from the community when you're offering to pray for them?
Most folks, when you offer prayer, there is something they would like prayer for. Like we have one of our congregates, I had to ask her, how long have you been evangelizing? And she says, this is my first time. You offered for me to come out. And so I've come out, and she said, she's the first to go and run up to the UPS guy and ask him if he wants prayer for something. and just to see her growth and her open up. And that's what's happened in the congregation in a lot of different ways. They're really supportive. And even it's really in their timing, opening up those opportunities. And then in their timing, they're opening up and they're growing, watching the modeling, and having, I guess you could say, someone lead, even though we always work in a team, helps them, I guess, just open up and feel comfortable sharing the Lord in whatever way they can. That's
great. You've probably answered some of the questions that I was going to ask Caleb, but
sorry.
but that's okay. Well, the repetition is the mother of learning, so, but I'll ask Caleb, how have you found Dorothy's ministry impacting the ministry at Holy Trinity?
First of all, I would just say that it's been very positive. Um, I would describe her impact on Holy Trinity in a couple of ways. First of all, Dorothy has just an incredible vision for outreach and mission, and she's really great at following through on that vision. Secondly, she does a great job of building and leading teams. She has an ability to get people involved in outreach ministry, in some cases for the first time. And she's able to do that in a way that feels non threatening to people, I think. That's important because, as I'm sure you're aware, people are often anxious about getting started in outreach and evangelism. And I've watched Dorothy ease people into it, and she has a real gift for doing that.
Great. How have you seen members of your congregation change?
That's I actually was planning to reference the member who prayed for the FedEx driver um, because that really struck me. Someone saying, I've never done this before. This is new, and that isn't just an isolated example. I think the last time we went door to door for uh, Christmas invitations, some of the folks who were with us discovered that they had a real love and a real knack for doing that sort of thing. And I'm not sure that they ever realized that. I think that in general, through Dorothy's ministry, so many of our parishioners are discovering that they have a passion and a gifting for outreach that they didn't know they had.
That's really great. Like you say, I think one of the biggest reasons churches don't reach out is they think they don't have the gift, and so they never try. So getting involved in finding that gift, and even in unexpected places, is neat to hear. Some people tell me that they would rather be involved in church planting because then they have a chance to take a church from the beginning and kind of establish its DNA right up front, and that trying to have a church shift its focus from where it has been more probably inside the walls of the church to outside the walls of the church, that culture change is difficult to go through. How have you found that shift to be taking place at Holy Trinity?
It's interesting to me because I think that we would assume that you're going to encounter resistance when you emphasize outreach, and that just has not been our experience at Holy Trinity. The congregation has been really receptive to an outreach emphasis, and people in general uh, like to be involved. They might not have known that they like to be involved in outreach before being given the opportunity. Uh, but in all likelihood, in any congregation, there are going to be people who have a gift for or an interest in outreach. May not know it yet, but certainly that will come to the surface if that opportunity is there.
Great. If to speak to other pastors who may be watching this and wondering whether or not they should try to get connected with Church Army and have an evangelist serve their congregation, what would you say to somebody who's thinking along those lines?
Sure. So I've said a number of times that I've come to believe that every congregation should have a church army evangelist. I really do feel that way. It would be difficult for me to overstate just how impactful Dorothy's ministry has been when we're talking about what's happening in our congregation. So I would say my fellow pastors do reach out to a church army evangelist. I'm confident that you won't regret that decision.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. I will say that one of the things that Church Army has always done is really trying to get the laity involved in ministry. And Dorothy is a laywoman, so it's you don't have to be ordained to have an impact in the church, which sometimes, particularly in Anglican circles, I think there's that thought that unless I've got an MDiv and have been ordained to the diaconate or the presbyterate, that I'm not going to be able to be used. And you help to dispel that myth. So thank you very much for that. And just by way of information, Church Army is working with Trinity School for Ministry in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. We have a certificate of evangelism program that your laity and clergy can sign up for. It's really focused on laity to sign up to get some training, some practice in terms of outreach ministry so that you can have somebody within your own congregation raised up to do what Dorothy does at Holy Trinity. If you'd like any further information, if you want to talk to Caleb, Dorothy, or me, you can send an email to info@churcharmyusa.org. Just let us know what you'd like to talk about, and we'll handle that, get it to the right person. And we want to help you out as best we can. I mean, the church is the bride of Christ. It's the body of Christ. And it is the organization, we believe, that God has raised up to sow the seeds of the gospel. And so we want to help the church do that as best as it can, and kind of help shift that thinking a little bit from just being focused on what goes on inside the walls to what's going on in your community right around you, and how you can be part of it and show the love of Christ to it. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. God bless, and have a good remainder of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.